Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I will be explaining the life of Julius Novachrono, the Emperor or Wizard King or Commander of the Magic Knight. Now before we start, click the subscribe and notification bell for more Black Clover related videos. Also, don't feel shy to make a suggestion of the next video idea. Okay, so at age 15, Julius received his grimoire and joined the Magic Knight, where he eventually climbed through the ranks till he eventually became the captain of the Magic Knights known as Reindeer or Azure. There are multiple ways to pronounce the name of the squad that he was in, but for the sake of this video, I'm just going to be using Gradier. So at the time, Gradier consisted of some of the top tier Magic Knight we know today. Before he became Wizard King, Julius would often disguise himself with common folk in order to explore and learn the new types of magic there is out there. This is a habit he took with him even in his days as the Wizard King. Unlike most, Julius does not discriminate against commoners or peasants as he does not agree with the social standing. During his time as a Magic Knight, he would often encounter folks of higher social status degrading those lower. They would often make harsh remarks about how useless and a waste of space the commoners are. One day he met a man named Zara Ideal, who was the very first peasant to become a Magic Knight. However, due to his social status as a peasant, he was eventually betrayed and killed by the same members of his squad. Seeing such a tragedy occur caused Julius to seek a resolution to the discrimination that infested the Clover Kingdom. He finally decided that the best way to influence the Clover Kingdom as a whole was to become a person of power, status, and reliability, and thus he pursues his goal to become the Wizard King. By doing this, he could use his influence as a Wizard King to change the social standing of the Clover Kingdom, thus slowly but surely eradicating discrimination. In his life's journey, he met Yami Sukehiro and William Vangeance. William was an unwanted illegitimate child of noble origins. Because he was born with a massive scar across his face, he was treated and feared as a cursed child by those around him. Due to the scar and illegitimacy of his birth, he was cast away to live a life in the slums of the Clover Kingdom. After the heir of the noble's family died, they accepted 8-year-old William back into their family. However, it wasn't necessarily an easy childhood for William, as he lived with his foster mother. His foster mother would abuse him as time went by. On a fateful day at the age of 13, William encountered Julius. Julius saw the outstanding potential William had, and therefore he offered him a place in the ranks of a Magic Knight. Since William had lived a life of abuse, he became hesitant to accept the offer due to the insecurities caused by his scar. Julius created a mask to help William hide his insecurities, and shocked by the kindness Julius showed him, he accepted the invitation to join the Magic Knights. He decided to pledge his grimoire to Julius because of the kindness and belief Julius gave him. When Julius met Yami, he was a castaway living in the outskirts of the Clover Kingdom. He was discriminated against since he was a foreigner from another land. Eventually, Yami got his grimoire at the age of 15. People were naturally terrified of Yami's unique power to manipulate dark magic. However, Julius saw potential in Yami and decided to offer him a place as a Magic Knight. Julius even taught him the proper way to speak the dialect of the Clover Kingdom. Once Julius becomes Wizard King, he appointed William and Yami as captains of their own squad. He obviously did this because it suits his plan to encourage equality, so he gave an outcast and a foreigner the highest positions that commoners cannot dream of. And by doing so and giving them the opportunities they could never dream of, they in turn will spread Julius's kindness to their squad members. Years later, Julius disguises himself within the commoners once again, this time as a frail old woman from the Clover Kingdom. There, he catches a glimpse of Asta's anti-magic abilities. He then goes on to assign Asta a mission to test his abilities further. Asta, a Magic Knight who aspires to become the Wizard King, asks Julius on how he achieved the status as the Wizard King. He goes on to say that achievement, devotion, and merit are what makes the Wizard King stand out from the rest. Note that he never mentioned anything about a royal lineage. This means absolutely anyone can achieve the title as long as they are willing to provide all the things that he mentioned. If a commoner was to take his position, that would send a strong message on equality across the entire Clover Kingdom, which ultimately is what Julius wants. He further demonstrates his will for Asta to become Wizard King in the Eye of the Midnight Sun arc, where he saves Asta's life and quickly dispatches a few members of the Eye of the Midnight Sun with ease. While Asta watches in amazement, Julius goes on to explain that what he just demonstrated was just a sample of what a person that pursues the goal of Wizard King should aim for. After killing a few members of the Eye of Midnight Sun, Julius shows the extent he is willing to go in order to protect his kingdom. He manages to capture enough members, however, Patori, who shows up at the scene and manages to save all his henchmen except one. Later, Julius returns to the capital. He realizes the extent of damage done to the capital and blames himself for miscalculating. He reassures the Magic Knights that they did their best and that it is not their fault. Eventually, they found out that there is a traitor amongst them. He later asks Asta for his aid in interrogating the goons that he captured. It turns out that the traitor was Gelder Pizot, who basically betrayed the entire Clover Kingdom for some money. Julius has a knack of bringing out the good in people. He encourages Asta by complimenting his development every time they cross paths. He even told Asta he is a step closer to becoming Wizard King at some point in time. He motivates Asta to further improve himself. He later convinced Zora to embrace his new role as a Magic Knight. At some point in time, when Julius is sun-gazing, he is approached by his old friend William Vangeance. So William remarked how many years it has been since they first met. As he continues his conversation with Julius, he confesses to being a traitor as he harbors another person within. This person turns out to be Patori, the one who at the time took the alias Licht. A fight ensues between Patori and Julius. There, in the moment, Julius reveals his plans to create a kingdom without discrimination. While Julius fights Patori, he makes sure to avoid any injury on William's body. Patori takes advantage of Julius's position as the Wizard King by endangering all the residents of the Clover Kingdom. This causes Julius to momentarily drop his guard in order to save his citizens, because failing to do so would mean everything he worked towards would go to waste. Patori capitalizes on the brief opportunity to impale Julius, thus killing him. With his last moments, he summed up all his achievements, mentioning that the seeds of equality he planted bore fruit as some of the royals are beginning to change the ways they perceive commoners. That would have been a sad end to the man who wants to change his kingdom for the better. However, sometime after he became Wizard King in the past, he came across a magic tool compatible with his time magic. This allowed him to store some time within it, which serves as an emergency spell that activates should he ever be killed. After his death, the spell activated as intended and Julius came back to life once again. However, he was revived into the body of a 13-year-old version of himself, along with a single page of his grimoire. This most likely means he will have to start his journey all over again as a Magic Knight, though he is most likely useless as he now isn't even old enough to receive a grimoire. That will be all the current info we know about Julius so far. Let me know in the comments which character you would like next. With that being said, subscribe, hit the notification button for more Black Clover content, and let's get this video to at least 1,000 likes. Check out my breakdown on how mana works in the Black Clover Kingdom if you are new to Black Clover. With that being said, I have nothing more to say. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't be shy to give me any new video suggestions on who you want me to do next, and bye.